activities similar to or even greater than that of BPA. Boom. Is BPA in this beer can? Somebody recently asked me that. Let's talk about it. Got a study here. Let's look at these scientific research studies, 3 of them. And let's start with 2015 in a journal called Reproductive Toxicology. This research paper is called Estrogens in the Wrong Place at the Wrong Time, Fetal BPA Exposure and Mammary Cancer, Breast Cancer. What do they say? Gestational exposure in the womb, babies exposed in the womb to diethylstilbestrol. Remember, we talked about that already. We talked about epigenetics and inheritance of infertility, of cancer. We've talked about DES a lot. Remember, doctors used to prescribe it. Super toxic stuff. Estrogenic, artificial estrogen. Anyways, gestational exposure to DES induced alterations of the genital tract and predispose individuals to develop clear cell carcinoma, as well as breast cancer later in life. Breast cancer later in life. That's the focus of this paper. But get this. Gestational exposure of the related compound xenoestrogen bisphenol A, BPA, increases the propensity to develop mammary cancer during adulthood long after cessation of exposure. You get exposed in the womb, 30 years, 40 years, 60, 70, you get breast cancer. You're predisposing yourself to breast cancer from early exposures to BPA. This is scientific research. This is what we know already. This isn't a question mark. So we postulate that the primary target of BPA is mammary tissue. It acts like estrogen. But in addition, they say BPA is postulated to affect the hypothalamus, kind of regulate all kinds of hormones by acting like estrogen. Okay, so BPA later in life has this health impact, adverse health impact. Let's look at 2012 in the Journal of the National Cancer Institute. This research paper. It's called Getting It Right, BPA and the Difficulty Proving Environmental Cancer Risks. Proving. Why is it difficult? Well, because oftentimes we come up with these artificial chemicals and our ancestors have never seen these, our gut bacteria have never seen these, and we make them legal. We assume they're okay, we assume they're healthy, and then studies come out and show that they're bad and show that they're worse and worse, and then the European Union jumps in and makes them illegal while they're still legal in America oftentimes. Anyways, first appearing in products in the 1950s, BPA is a common chemical, it starts off by saying, this research paper. They say the 2003 National Health and Nutrition Examination Survey conducted by the CDC. So they ran this huge survey, found detectable levels of BPA in 93% of over 2,500 urine samples from people aged 6 and older. Are you exposed? Almost for sure. Have I been exposed? Almost for sure. 93% of people aged 6 and over. Remember, in the womb, if you're exposed in the womb, you're having impacts, health problems later in life because of this BPA exposure. This isn't trivial. But here's the crazy thing. Should we make it illegal? Absolutely. Has the United States federal government made it illegal? Absolutely, they have not. But 17 states have jumped in and made BPA illegal, at least in children's products. But here's the thing. Here's what you need to know, including this sort of thing. Look at this paper, 2016, bisphenol analogs. That means chemicals that are similar to BPA. Just slight changes, slight variations. BPA analogs, or bisphenol analogs, other than BPA. Environmental occurrence, human exposure, and toxicity, a review. This is a review paper about all sorts of bisphenol chemicals, right? Not just BPA. So this is super interesting. I love this paper. You should check it out. Following stringent regulations on the production and usage of BPA, this paper starts off by saying, in other words, BPA is being regulated. What have companies done? Several bisphenol analogs have been produced as a replacement for BPA in various applications. In other words, states are coming out finally and making BPA illegal. So what are they doing? They're tweaking the molecule. Let me explain. This present review outlines the current state of knowledge on this whole thing. And they say, whereas BPA was still the major bisphenol analog found in most environmental monitoring studies. Okay, BPA is still the most common. And remember, we talked about parabens in polar bears, whales, otters, dolphins. These chemicals they're not just impacting our health. All right, BPA is the most common, but BPF and BPS, bisphenol F, bisphenol S, they're just slightly changing the molecule, were also frequently detected in human urine, etc. A lot of places. In the environment and human urine, many analogs exhibit endocrine disrupting effects, cytotoxicity. They're altering our hormones. They're killing cells in our body. Genotoxicity, they say. That's DNA toxicity. Reproductive toxicity. We've talked about that. We've talked about infertility a lot lately. Dioxin-like effects. That's like it's acting like Agent Orange. Neurotoxicity. I mean, they're listing all the health problems. And they say, this is the punchline, BPAF. All right. In other words, something similar to BPA, but not BPA. BPB, BPF, and BPS have been shown to exhibit estrogenic and or anti-androgenic, that means they mess with your testosterone, activities similar to or even greater than that of BPA. Boom. I should probably just end on that, or anything I say after that is anticlimactic, but I want to make sure you get what I'm saying. BPS, BPF, all of these analogs, all these artificial estrogens that are similar to BPA, they act the same as BPA in your body. They act like estrogen. So let's say they take BPA out of the aluminum can. They line these aluminum cans with BPA. They do. I've looked into it. I couldn't believe it. Soda cans, aluminum foil even sometimes. They're spraying it with BPA. But guess what happens? Sometimes they say, yeah, let's make BPA illegal. 17 states have. What do? Well, they have to spray it with something else, or you get corrosion of that aluminum. You get holes in the aluminum cans. And sometimes in the food, these cans of food, what do? They switch to BPF. They switch to BPS. They switch to some other analog that's similar to BPA, just as bad for your health. So it's a problem. You can see that the solution's not easy. Obviously, these companies are using a lot of aluminum cans, a lot of metal cans in their foods. It's a health hazard. Again, you can definitely find scientists and committees and groups of people that say it's not a health hazard. You need to drink a lot of cans in order to get health problems, health impacts. But they've been saying that all along. They've constantly been saying these things are healthy and they're acceptable, and then stepping back a few years later and saying, oops, we made a mistake. It's not healthy. It's not acceptable. 20 years from now, BPA will be illegal. Hopefully also BPS, BPF, BPAF, all of these analogs will also be illegal. In the meantime, watch out. These are BPA-free products, but they still have chemicals that are just as nasty.